Well, come along with me. Let's check out when it all began. Yes, according to data from the NBS, the economy officially entered recession in the second quarter of 2016. The second quarter 2016 GDP declined by minus 2.06% as we see it here. And while annual inflation rose to 17.1%, that's the headline inflation in July, from 16.5% in June. But the food inflation for some time now has been on a steady increase. We had it at a 20.1% all-time high in the last data given by the NBS. Now, energy prices accounted for the rise in inflation for the month. Now, after contracting for 5 consecutive quarters, the economy finally exits recession with GDP growth rate at 0.55% in the second quarter. Just about the same period it went into recession. The Q2 growth rate was about 2.5% higher than the rate recorded in the corresponding quarter of 2016. And according to preliminary results, Nigeria's economic recovery was driven by the performance of 4 main activities, talking about agriculture, manufacturing, and trade. And the results revealed that oil GDP recovered significantly. We have it at 1.64%, and it recovered significantly from minus 11% in second quarter 2016 to about 1.64% in 2017 second quarter. Now, non-oil GDP grew at 0.45%. All right, let's discuss this further, and joining me to do that now, Ibrahim Babalola is an investment analyst with Sub-Saharan Africa. He joins me via Skype. Many thanks for your time, Ibrahim. Also joining me on phone is financial analyst Chukwuma Anyanwu. Many thanks for your time, Chukwuma. Thank you both for joining me. Now, this is not at all a robust GDP print. It still falls short of the growth rate the Nigerian economy should be achieving. I'll start with you, Ibrahim.
So I didn't get that.
Yes, I said this is not at all a robust GDP print. What do you have to say about that?
I think that it is good to highlight the importance of rebounding from recession. You know, the country has just come out from consecutive 5 quarters of contraction, and we've seen a rebound in oil production. You know, coming from the discussions with the militants in Niger Delta and the ceasefire agreement that that was reached, and the halt of the bombing on oil installations, which has improved Nigeria's oil production. You know, because oil sector grew 1.6% year on year. We also saw improvements in the non-oil sector. It is important to highlight, the significance of coming out of recession. Again, I don't know what you were expecting concerning the growth, but I think that analysts' expectation was, a moderate expansion in GDP, which is what has been recorded.
Yes, analysts have been talking about this, Chukwuma, and while many will focus on the headline move back into positive territory, do you think that some of that optimism must be tempered?
Well, yes. Thanks for having me in any case. I think the major concern still remains the fact that food inflation, like you pointed out, has been growing. And that directly speaks to the spending capacity of the individual man on the street. So despite the fact that we've had the positive GDP number, and despite the fact that we have seen inflation come down from a 15-month high to where currently is at now, I think the major concern still remains the fact that the man on the street is not feeling the impact, and that's largely on account of the fact that we still have energy prices soaring, which, and of course, the impact of the exchange rate, which went to almost an all-time high as well, and that has not significantly come down to the levels where Nigeria historically has it at about 190. So. That after all said and done, I think it's positive that we are having GDP numbers coming back to the positive territory, and everything is coming together gradually. But I think that optimism still needs to be tempered a bit, because oil prices are still quite unsure as we speak. And until we have an effective diversification of our income heads, from oil accounting majorly for our foreign exchange earnings, we still have a lot to worry about.
We have a lot to worry about. Exactly. Oil prices was still part of, there's still uncertainty in the oil market, and oil prices still drove majority of that growth that we saw. Ibrahim, one other main sector that also drove the growth is the manufacturing sector. Of course, it's been helped by the supply of foreign currency. But do you see the CBN continuing a tight monetary policy stance?
Well, I mean, as you've highlighted, we're seeing the manufacturing growth significantly. I think PMI has come in positive for it's coming positive for about 3 months now. But we think that, the CBN will probably maintain status quo concerning the lending rates. Not a lot has changed in the factors that will be considered to either dictate a tightening or expansionary monetary policy. To be fair, so I believe that status quo would be maintained on the lending rates for now, of course.
Yes, it's been a good result for the second quarter. Now, all things being equal, the third quarter, you two in a sentence each, what do you think that the third quarter would be like? I'll start with you, Chukwuma.
Well, for the GDP numbers, the third quarter will toe the line of the Q2 numbers. I think we would see an effective confirmation of the fact that we have exited a recession in the third quarter. I mean, at the beginning of the year, I was actually optimistic that by the third quarter, we would have properly exited the current recession that Nigeria was in. So I think by third quarter, we would see stronger numbers, supported by the fact, of course, that we are seeing stronger numbers, stronger PMI numbers, and that has translated to, or that has been, it was expected because since the CBN started in the recent past, we've seen a progressive reduction in improvement in PMI, and that has clearly and is indicative of the fact that manufacturing activities is thriving, and if that continues to grow, then it means that there is activity coming in from the real sector. Once real sector activities, production activities continue to improve, there is trade, then disposable income is stronger, then of course we will see it translate to stronger Q3 GDP numbers. So my expectation for the Q3 period is that it will toe this line. We would see an effective confirmation of the fact that we've exited the recession, but I still have my concerns about the soaring food inflation. I think eventually it's something that we need to address and look for a proactive way of sorting that out so that the common man can actually feel the effect of us exiting this recession properly.
Ibrahim, on a final note, are we going to feel that effect on food inflation?
Food inflation has been on a rise for a number of months now, and we would continue to see food inflation surge towards the end of the year. When you look at the planting season, I think it ends at the end of October, going into November before we see maybe a moderation in food inflation. GDP numbers for Q3 2017 should also come in positive. If oil production is maintained at current levels at 1.9 million barrels per day, it still be significantly above the 1.6 million barrels per day that was recorded in Q3 2016. The improvements in FX will continue to drive activities in the non-oil sectors. So we should see an expansion in GDP in Q3 2017, of course.
All right. Thank you both for your time, Chukwuma and Ibrahim, on Business Tonight. We appreciate it. Of course, we'll see how it goes in coming days. Thank you both.